Another day, another night. We're waiting for Erik. He'll be on in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, I guess we'll just wait. I am tired. Alright. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do some work so you guys can watch me work silently. Wow. That's gotta be fun. Maybe I'll do it the Fango style. Have it so you can see my screen while I'm working. Nah. Alright. That maybe it might be exciting for people, but it would just be over the head for a lot. Not only that, I'd probably get in trouble. Hi cat, how's it going? Let's see. I really need to do a computer session with a couple people. Maybe a broad general tech session too in the future. Watch, this is eventually what it's gonna be. It's just gonna be me and people joining, not talking. A whole bunch of bots or something like that. It will be very, very bleak. I guess that would be a good sign to quit. If that was the case. Slow news day. I guess it's the typical news day. There's nothing really much going on except for tomfoolery. Hey, Lostona. That's how I say it. Alright, see you in a bit, cat. Should rename the stream The Lonely Asian Guy. I just wait for people to join so I can talk to them about stuff. Hi, my name's Abon. How's it going? Sorry, I'm a little bit in the mood, I guess. In a weird mood. Or how about this? You know how there's a Korean thing? Maybe it's not as popular as it was. It's called mukbang. It's basically it's Koreans just eating food in front of the camera and people watch and people get like hundreds of thousands of views. But I'm gonna take it one notch up a notch, and I'm just gonna sleep in front of the camera. So you could just see me sleeping and see how much views I get by the end of it. Oh yeah, well yeah, I could talk to you guys in chat. Card gnome, do it. Right. The truth can't be silenced. Can you believe that? A whole show just people eating food. They don't even say anything. I think they're just munching to get something else to eat. Maybe it's interesting for some people. I don't know. No, you would not be boring, Joanne. But yeah, if you're tired, I'm tired. Feel free to not join in. It's okay. Let's see. 10:39. No, I don't need to worry about that yet. Let's see, IP address. IP address changed. Sorry, work stuff. Oh, no problem, someone. Hey, Stevie. Don't worry about it, Joanne. Just chillax for tonight. I think I probably won't be on too much anyway. A couple of things to talk about with the campaign. a solution, I guess, with Kelly coming up with a solution, and then something that Snork had in mind. I don't know if I'm gonna have that conversation offline with Snork, or if we want to cover that during Anything Goes. And what am I doing? All right, we're getting good. Look at that, 15 views, and I haven't done anything yet. See how I can get this, how I can keep this going. Hey Gardner, how's it going? Good, me too. How about you? Oh, you don't say. That's pretty cool. No, I never heard of that before. Really? Oh, sorry, I was just acting like he was talking back.
What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Not much. I figured I'd just come on for a few minutes so you didn't have to sit here and like rant at the camera about I'm going to start an eating channel and blah blah.
No, it's a sleeping channel.
Oh yes, you've changed it.
Yeah, I changed it.
You're an innovator. I see.
I mean, can you imagine if I'm just like this? Alright. I'll do the head bob.
People will throw insults at you. It'll be fun.
They'll
insult you. Maybe you'll drool or something.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. A little bit of like wet stuff right there.
A little bit of suspense. Is he gonna drool? Is he gonna drool?
Yeah. Or when I do the head bob, am I gonna wake up, or am I just gonna like?
Is he gonna wreck his equipment?
That'd be entertainment for the 22nd century.
Or entertainment for 20 seconds. I don't know how long I'd be able to watch that.
Have you ever watched any of those Korean videos where they're just eating?
Yeah. Like I said in the chat, there's actually this pretty cute girl who does a bunch of them, and she's super popular. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't watch it. But really?
Yeah, it's not like I watch it on a regular basis, really. But actually, I've seen a show that was about it. Like, you know, I didn't see the actual episode, but yeah, she's like super rich off of it, and people send her like, I think fetishists send her things to eat. That's what they implied in the little clip. I mean, but aside from that, I think normal people watch it too. You know? Yeah.
What's funny is like people turn to like porn to make money. It's like, dude, you don't need to turn to porn. Just start eating in front of the camera.
Or just unbox something. Like, I've never understood those videos either. You know, like I understand product demonstrations, but the unboxing videos, my God, man, people are making. I made $15,000 off of unboxing something last week. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's mostly the review, but they always do an unboxing for a review. And yeah, I don't get that point. It's like, hey, just have it out of the box already. Just tell us about the product. Don't tell us like how neatly it's packaged. It's like, ooh, there's a nice cardboard box with some illustration.
It's like I'm there. I think actually that was started by marketing companies like a few years back. They started putting out these unboxing vids or hiring people to do it, and it just kind of caught on.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It'd be funny. Like some of them probably spend a lot of money on like the boxing material. You know, they'll put like some type of velvet, like covering, like a wrap, not a wrap, but like a felt type of covering for a box or something like that. And then they have the indentations of it in the product. So you'll buy something that's like costs $15 and the packaging material is probably like half that.
Yeah.
It's just so people feel like they're getting something awesome when it's just it just looks good when they get it.
I'm one of the elites now.
Yeah.
My $90 camera came wrapped in a $30 piece of velvet.
And I was thinking just got a $120 camera. That came in like a 5-cent wrapping. Oh well.
Oh well, I just ordered a new camera. It's gonna be here on Friday.
All right. Is it gonna be still filled with green fuzz?
Oh no, like I do that on purpose.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm talking about a out and about camera, not a web camera.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Kodak. It's a bridge camera, basically.
Okay. A Kodak. Wow, you're going old school.
Woo, Kodak.
I didn't know they still stood around. Hey, Joanne.
They quit making Kodachrome film, which sucks.
Yeah. Don't they have it so it's still the same? You get the digital saving, but it prints out something right after you take it?
My camera doesn't have that. I think there's cameras that have those features.
Okay.
You're talking about just a printer in the camera, like a Polaroid or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get that.
Oh man. One thing I hate about the summer is all the mosquitoes that are coming out. Do you get a lot where you're at?
Yeah. Watch some of my videos, man. I'm constantly whining about being attacked by bugs, crying, like it's pathetic. Really. I can't hack it.
Yeah.
As soon as the sun goes down, they're just like, attack. Oh, it's awful. I get these big welts all over my legs because I like to garden. And I even keep some of that bug spray in the garage, and it seems like some of them still bite. And they don't bite. The funny thing is, they don't bite everybody in my family. Like, they don't bite everybody, which is strange.
Yeah. I like being with the people who get the mosquitoes. Just love them. So I'm just kind of not even getting bit. But that would suck for all the people that are. Ouch.
There's a trick you can use, like when you're hiking with someone, and is if you're bothered by flies a lot, go over and like kind of hike next to them for a minute, and then like speed up and walk away. Like you'll get rid of some of them that way. Usually, sometimes you'll pick up a couple. It's a gamble, but keep it in mind.
What's funny is I don't hear a lot about like West Nile virus anymore. Remember that was like a big thing a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Same thing with the Ebola scare. Remember that? Now it's like, oh, it's nothing.
It's probably gotten worse. They just don't want to let us know. Every third person has a case of Ebola, and it's just a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
I got one of those window air conditioners, and where there's water that comes out of it, there's just all these gnats that just swarm.
Oh.
I had to deal with it last summer, and they're already back again, and they're driving me up the wall. Hello. Maybe the fly can send his minions back.
Hello, Aeolus and Erik.
How is everyone doing?
Good, good. Just trying to keep Eben awake and up and at it.
Yeah, so there's a time between when people start joining where I just kind of have to perform, I guess. So.
Is it Eben or Iban?
Iban?
Iban, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pronounce it properly from now on.
Yeah, I didn't mean
Jake Jr.?
I wasn't
Is that what it is,
I
Garden?
just wasn't sure myself.
Oh. That's alright. People have called me the wrong name pronunciation for years, so I'm okay with it.
Oh, that's your real name, dude?
What, Jenks Jr.?
Yes! I thought that was your son's name.
Oh, okay.
I always thought that it was, like, it was just some tag name, like Black Kim,
Oh. Oh, just kind of like
which
Kim
would
Black?
be a badass name.
But... all right, Christian's going to be back. We haven't seen him for almost like, it feels like a month.
A week or two?
Or was it only a week? It feels like a long time.
It's only been a week.
Okay.
Has anybody been watching this CNN hashtag CNN blackmail craziness?
Yeah, that's all that's been going on.
My my timeline is crazy. It's mixed. People are for and against.
Oh, it's
Oh.
fantastic. I love it. I
agree
can't
with
wait.
Erik.
I can't wait for CNN to go down. It's gonna be like 4th of July again. Like it will be like, you know, our version of 4th of July, but we could actually celebrate America taking down fake news again.
So
But
Erik is
crushed them for good.
So Erik, is this new thing where supposedly BuzzFeed declared war on 4chan? Is that a real thing, or is that a hoax?
I think it's all a hoax, though, as of right now, because I don't want to take anything with a grain of salt. Because, you know, people make up shit all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there's a lot of people think it's true. There's a lot of people who think it's true.
I want to see some real shred of evidence.
Yeah.
We
Where
don't
did
want
it start?
evidence.
On a Facebook post from a...
But like, the one thing on 4chan with the getting the wrong guy,
Yeah, how about that?
I mean, yeah,
wasn't
getting
even
the
the right-
wrong guy.
That actually makes more sense for CNN that they got it wrong.
Yeah. It wasn't. It was a similar video. I mean, very similar. But when someone looked at in fact, when BuzzFeed looked at the technical details, the color range, and some little bits that I didn't study it in detail, but I think there were technical differences, and then also just some differences like in color and in a logo being there or not being there. So either this guy wasn't the first one to do it, or someone copied him, or two people had exactly the same idea at the same time, copied each other. But the guy, I think, did take credit for it. I didn't go and read the actual Reddit post myself.
This is a tough one for me. Do I trust CNN's reporting, or do I trust BuzzFeed's reporting?
Yeah, really. I'm like not a fan of either. So
I just hope all of these outlets cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
I hope that's what happens. I mean, that's what we're seeing happen.
Yeah. And it's funny.
Yep, it's like Christmas and 4th of July.
At the same time.
Yep.
And we're all talking about it and having fun while they're holding their high fucking horses, you know, to a higher standard, thinking they're always right and never wrong. That's what I think about fake news. Honestly, I support people who want to tell the truth and keep it real, not keep it fake and honestly, you know, on the Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong, that's what I think of fake news, because they're like so triggered and selective of outrage. When they keep it real with all this fake news bullshit, it ends up going wrong for them.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them think that they are right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just cognitive dissonance. We're right. That's it. We're the news.
I mean, like, I always I try my best to operate on the condition that, or the presupposition, I should say, that most people are usually genuine, if not in their argumentation, at least within their motivations for doing what they do. So it usually takes a lot for me to say that, you know, oh, you're obviously fucking lying. I usually say, okay, is there a chance that you're just wrong? And I try to operate on that. But there's a degree to which, you know, you kind of have to suspend that as a reasonable possibility, because if you do it this frequently, I either have to assume you are lying on purpose, or you are this incompetent that you shouldn't have been in the position to be telling the truth in the first place.
Or just greedy. I mean, if someone started paying me $30 million a year, like, maybe my views...
$30,000 a day.
Yeah. Maybe my views would change a bit. Who knows? But I'm sick of listening and watching it. I can tell you that.
Well, that depends. There are certain things for which you could be paid that much amount of money, and that might have just already been your position to begin with. A la the Sarkeesian effect. Documentary.
You know what? If someone
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The documentary.
Someone needs to debate Anita Sarkeesian already.
Sure.
I mean, someone needs to.
You know what? I'd actually like to see another feminist do a proper debate. Anita Sarkeesian. That would actually, I think, make for some interesting commentary. Because at least as a feminist ally, I do find times when I do think that Anita Sarkeesian really stretches the definition in order. Her definitions in order to make her points. The Bayonetta example was, I think, for me, was one of those.
Yeah, well,
but I understand the frustration with Bayonetta, but that some women might feel with Bayonetta, but I don't see it because it's also kind of in its own way a statement of absurdity. If you're taking Bayonetta seriously, that there's a bit of a problem right there to begin with.
I don't think Anita Sarkeesian will ever go on a debate. That's probably not her thing.
Well, no, and you know,
huge Bayonetta fan.
Hey, I don't even play the games. Like, to be honest, like it's just, to me, it's like the advertisement campaign is kind of grossly chauvinistic, but you know that doesn't really say anything about the game itself.
Anita's done so much damage to the cause of feminism.
Honestly, I think it's the hyper reaction towards Anita that did more damage than anything else. Because let's be honest here for a second. If it hadn't been for the entire volume of harassment that she had received when she first set up the campaign, we would not be talking about Anita Sarkeesian right here, right now. It's only because of the torrent of shit that got thrown in. Everyone was like, oh, hey, what could go wrong with this project? Donate, and it's just as a giant fuck you.
Well, yeah, I mean, she took the money and ran, kinda, and and her arguments are deceptive. You know, I mean, you go back and analyze them and look at her points, and they are incorrect. Like, things aren't happening in the video games, or like, you know.
It's like going after creativity, and honestly, that's part of censorship, and I'm totally against her on that.
Yeah.
Even my girlfriend, she does not like Anita Sarkeesian whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't really get. I don't know very much. What I've heard about her isn't good, so I'm glad that I don't know that much about her. But like, I play games, or I used to, like hardcore, but like, I've never sat there and thought, oh my gosh, this game is so sexist. I can't play this because it's just so misogynistic. Well, I don't understand that. The games I played I just played them because they were fun. I don't know why she's looking so far into it.
Can I make a comment? Now, I would like to say that, first off, I don't always agree with Anita Sarkeesian on her points. I do think the broader point that she was trying to make, and which is something I do agree with, is that within a certain context and a certain culture, it's a lot. The difference between, like, a lot of people compared hers to statements to committing violence in video games. The presentation of sexism within video games is akin to the presentation of violence. But the difference is that when we talk about violence, that's the degree to is displayed to a degree to which we're kind of forced to suspend our disbelief. Because if we actually went on the kinds of murderous rampages that we do in our video games in real life, it would probably invoke a significant amount of irreversible psychological damage on our part. And so there's a certain degree to which we are removed, but making certain tasteless actions like being able to set up your own little pervy snow shop Easter eggs. I mean, attaching like scantily clad armor that serves no protective value other than as a rule of cool and like maybe the barest sense possible, and not to make it a pun.
Well,
but
maybe
it's because it's so normal, but because we're so used to it, it normalizes those certain attitudes and presuppositions. That's the general thrust of her argument. And so it's less that, and she even said this herself, is that it's not bad to like problematic things per se. But it's still nevertheless important to recognize when they occur and understand, this may not necessarily be as cool. To recognize something that may or may not annoy you and what might be the potential effects of that from a grander sociological perspective. Not just because it's simply one piece. Yes, Legend of Zelda is actually Zelda as a character in more recent ones, I think breaks in many ways breaks the mold of the classical damsel in distress character that she was originally archetyped as back when her character was first conceived in the 80s.
I actually disagree with Anita Sarkeesian calling The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sexist. That's why I actually showed.
Well,
I guess.
Let's let Rocket Carpenter go.
Sorry.
I guess like there's a couple of things. One is there's unbelievable body type for both men and women in all video games and in all, any cartoons, anything, it's always sort of exaggeration, but there is an argument.
He does exaggerate stuff, and
there
that's
is
wrong.
there is about no, I'm talking about just generally in the art of comic books or whatever, graphic novels, I guess they call them now. They were comic books when I was a kid, but comic books, video games, body type for men and women is unbelievable. Very few people have the great body that I have to show off. But I mean that's different.
Right.
So I see that. I also see the whole, chicks get the really cool like chainmail that hangs all the way down to about a third of the way their knees. I never did quite see what any armor on women did any good because they weren't wearing any compared to the guys got like big spikes sticking out of them and all this stuff, and the women got these little like metal things to hook onto them, and that's about it, and their ass sticking out. So I mean I never quite got that part of it, but that's part of the art thing that it's been there, and you're going to get that as long as there isn't sort of a more input at the beginning of how games are made and everything else. But the other thing is also people jump off of 30-foot buildings and walk away. They do all these things that you don't do that in real life. You don't get to sort of like jump off things and fire guns and land and be in one piece. You're multitasking too many things at once. So Unreal is already baked into the cake.
Right, but
do you remember
that a dragon could crawl out of a wall? So as far as it being sort of a sexual. Even masculine games,
sexualization,
and everything else. That's
So
it's when it's like beating up women and shit that's bad. Just beating on a helpless woman. That's kind of weird.
I mean, the only video. So the only video that a lot of people say to watch with Anita Sarkeesian is a video of how she loves playing games, and then there's another video of her, she's doing a presentation and she says, I'm not really a fan of games, but I had to do a lot of research on games. And for me, I'd just like her to talk to any just gamer who played games as a kid. I mean, how much of a thing was scantily clad women in 8-bit Nintendo? I mean, how much
the other thing
detail are you gonna watch?
game
And
itself.
I was
Because
playing as Princess Peach in the Mario games. I'll admit it. That's how strongly I feel about women in video games. And you know what? I love playing women in video games. I like playing as Peach. I love playing Smash Brothers like Lucina. I like playing as Peach, Rosalina, all of them.
Well, they're usually faster. Like, they usually are more maneuverable than their male counterparts in a lot of these games. So they have something, you know, that the males don't. In a lot of them, they're just faster and more maneuverable. So
I like playing Samus as I like playing, you know, Metroid Samus Aran. She's a woman.
yeah, well, and she's actually well. There's a number of statements. Although I would, as long as we don't talk about Metroid Zero, we don't.
Metroid Other M, you mean?
Yeah, we don't talk about Other M.
Oh, here's the triggered. I like
But
the
in
game.
the original Metroid, wasn't it the big reveal at the end that she was a female? Like, ooh, surprise!
Yeah.
You know?
And in fact, even the manuals went out of their way to hide that reveal.
I figured Samus was a female, you know, name anyway, so I was like, it sounded female anyway.
Yeah. I guess what my perspective is that that I don't necessarily see. I think there is a place for feminist critique in video games. I think it's a healthy thing for us to have that kind of perspective. It's a sign. To me, it's a sign that of the growing importance and relevance of video games within our culture, as not just as a fun pastime, but also as an expressive medium, as a form of art. So to me, I want to see, and obviously I don't think Anita Sarkeesian's criticisms are that good, mostly because she's I think of it as largely her coming from the perspective of a communication specialist, which is largely about public relations, and which is useful for discussing things like advertisement strategies, but it's not very good for textual literary critique. So what I would like to see is not necessarily not just more feminist, but I want to see a much more concrete ones with a much more concrete understanding of the text and medium come into play. That's me. And I don't think that, you know, like, especially with Gamergate's incessant whining about feminism trying to take over video games for reasons that honestly escape me. I think it does a disservice to the discourse to raise this alarm bellism that a certain critique or critique of the text and medium is somehow going to bring about the end of our fun.
Well, the other thing is Anita collected like X $100,000, made like 4 videos or something. I know I don't have these numbers right.
I just did a Google search, and her net
So
worth and her.
It took like 3 years to do it.
Am I muted or something? All right. So I just did a Google search, and Anita Sarkeesian's net worth is around $300,000. That's pretty good for, I guess.
She made like this project she made like what? Aeolus, you might know. Like, what was the project called?
It was Tropes versus Women in Video Games was the original project.
She made like X, how many hundreds of thousands?
On the initial Kickstarter. Originally, the goal was about 15,000, I believe. In the end, it raised about 150,000.
There was another.
I don't know.
Anyway, she collected all this money and made like 5 or 6 videos or something. It was ridiculous.
Well, to my understanding was that she spent. Well, hold on, wait a minute. I do remember that somebody did say that she does have a financial track records for that. So I would need to look at those to see how that was being spent. But to be honest, that doesn't necessarily mean she lied. You could make the argument that she didn't deliver as much as on the product as people had expected. Oh, it's 420. My bad. Now, but that's a separate issue. But that's kind of a separate issue. I mean, the Kickstarters go up and fail all the time. I mean, Sargon of Akkad tried to create his own video game for $80,000 and then promptly dropped it after 3 months.
Well, there's another one. Remember, like, when she was complaining about Batman's ass all the time?
I know why.
She actually made the game.
Wait, when was that?
Well, she made this. She was complaining about one of the Batman games, and she was like, "Look, you can't see Batman's ass, but you can see all these female characters' asses." Well, if you play the game, you see Batman's ass like all the time. His cape's always flying up.
I think that.
So I mean, it was
what she's talking about is cinematic cut. I think she meant that in the sense of cinematic cutscenes. Perhaps.
Well, you can see it like you're under his ass, like, you know, as he's jumping around.
Damn it, we need Batman's ass more. Like, oh my gosh.
I mean,
he's probably talking about the Arkham games, the recent Arkham games. Those games were awesome, man. I played the shit out of those games.
I haven't had the chance to play through them, so I can't make much of a statement. I do know a couple of friends who have really enjoyed them, though. So,
wow, her Kickstarter campaign raised $158,922. That's a lot.
Wait, what was it?
One of her campaigns raised $158,922.
Yeah, that was the initial campaign.
Yeah.
And that was after the first, like the first wave of death threats, I think, came in. And because, and that's when everyone decided to donate, I guess, as a giant FU.
Is this all part of Gamergate?
Well, no, this is sort of like some pretext behind it.
I just found out about Anita. What is it again?
Anita Sarkeesian. Yeah.
I just happened to watch a Joe Rogan interview over the weekend with one of the right guys.
Don't get Sargon of Akkad. Don't get started on that asshole.
So my son was like, "You're listening to Sargon?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm just curious what's going on here.
Okay.
I don't want to invest too much time in it, but I don't want to be completely clueless either." So he gave me a little background, and I think it's interesting how more men seem to know about this whole thing than women. I don't know, Steve. You get that sense?
I can kind of get that. Like I know about it mostly from cursory glances, because I used to. Because I was, prior to coming into this chat room and the whole Bernie thing, I was part of the anti-Gamergate subreddit. So as well as sort of a longtime viewer of the social justice community that had originally sprung up on YouTube as a result of Gamergate.
I avoided Gamergate deliberately like the plague. I could see it was like consuming people, so I just, not that I didn't care, I just made a conscious decision not to dive into that because, well, a lot of reasons. I don't want to, but I found that I wasted huge amounts of time in the certain times in political blogs, you know, partisan political blogs, and then these giant drama things would break out. And after a while, but it took several years, I found, what did I get out of any of that? I mean, I just realized I've been completely sucked in, and I honestly feel liberated from no longer being on a team. I'm just not on any team anymore. And sometimes I think those dramas are designed to, I don't know, that's getting a little conspiratorial, but I do think sometimes it's manipulation.
No, it's
I think sometimes there are things that sort of the popular blogs and stuff pick up as a cause or as something that's happening right now, and it sounds really, and they blow it up even more. What should have been sort of a stupid corner of the internet arguing turned into this big thing, and I feel the same way. Those arguments feel like they're just distractions from like actual honest to God things that affect people day to day more dramatically than video game sexuality and sexism in video games, and so I mean, I just felt like it's a battle to be done. It's a battle that should be had, but it's not necessarily a battle that should be the do all and end all of humanity, and that's what it was becoming.
Yeah, it's fun for people to talk about it. The younger generation love this whole talk. You'll see it just blow up all over the social YouTube area.
But there's always some character that, either money gets involved or they start revealing all this really, really deeply personal stuff, and it would just always unravel into something that was just way over the top. At least the things that I was involved in.
I mean, it's easy just to make fun of everyone and just kind of like get people on board with that and to get them riled up in chat or things like that. But I mean, there's either you change the landscape of games to be less sexist towards women, or you equal the playing field and you make it more sexist towards men. And there you go.
Which seems to be kind of Japan's route. It's just like, if everybody is being objectified, then everything is going to be gay.
Yeah. So,
which I'm sure does great wonders for all the yaoi fans and fujoshis in Japan.
What's the demographic of video games? A bunch of girls playing video games? It's a bunch of teenage boys that are just coming out of puberty or getting into it.
But it's
they want to see DNA.
It doesn't
Not
really
anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
look, if you want,
I'm not saying they want to, but a lot of men.
Look, if you're a teenage boy, you can access the internet and just look at porn. Why do it in anime fashion? I mean, you can even look at porn that's. You can even look. You can even look at porn in anime, right? You could just go onto like Pornhub and there's anime porn there. Why do you need a video game if you care so much? I think the video games is more about the fun of it.
It's never enough.
The video
from a marketing
Can I finish,
standpoint.
please?
Sorry.
So basically, the whole, if you want to play games, it's for the fun. You could look at one of the games that I love playing was Dead or Alive, and that's probably the most misogynistic game of all time. But when you actually play the game, it's very strategic as far as a fighting game, action fighting game. All right, go ahead.
No, it's like, I'm not saying that there can't be gems through the encrustments. Like, one of my favorite animes at the thus far is a series called CrossAnge. It's in which and it's a series that frankly is riddled with fucking sexual assault themes. Also some anarchist themes in it, strangely enough, which I might make some commentary about later.
Who said they like Metroid?
That was Eric.
I loved Metroid. I used to play Metroid all the time, And I think the goal at the end was what? What was the goal at the end of Metroid that people were trying to do? They were, I'll tell you, they were trying to see Samus, who was a girl in a suit, to undress herself at the end of the game. That was like the big reward. The better the score, the faster that you got to the end of the game, the more skin you would see from this girl. Keep in mind, I played this game because I loved the game. It was a very strategic game. It was tons of fun. Yes, that was a plus, but but the thing is that's kind of been the tone for a few games out there. I mean, you know, of course there's porn. You can find porn anywhere, but I mean, take for example Tekken. Tekken, right? Yeah. Tekken's all TNA. Does anybody see? I used to play Tekken at the arcade all the time.
Me too.
Do they still have Tekken there?
So I just pulled out 2 of my old, very old, arcade gaming guides to 2 of my favorite games ever. This one.
Which one is that?
What is it?
It's Killer Instinct number 2.
Oh,
nice.
And you know, it's like, I totally get the argument about it, but you know what? I mean, look at this dude. No, it's, to me, that kind of art or that kind of design is made to be over the top.
Right. I'm like,
you've got guys that are like ripped beyond belief, and women with the big boobs and the stuff. And I guess I just never really took it like serious. You know, it was fun. I had a blast playing these games, and if they were still around, I would still be playing them. Here's another one of my favorites, Street Fighter Alpha 2. This was
Street
probably
Fighter,
my
sure.
favorite Street Fighter ever. I miss this. I miss this. You have no idea. This was the days. This was the days. I would go down there, and I was usually one of the only girls playing, and so...
Okay.
And so, yeah, I would just kick the guys' butts, because I would sit and read all the guides, got all the moves and the combinations and the stuff. Oh yeah, I've loved games for a long time, and I personally have never really been that like worried or offended about, you know, big boobed guys and big boobed women, and it's just
you just got into the competition, exactly. That's why I love the game.
It's not supposed to be real. It's fantasy land.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it, personally.
Like, that's why I always, like, it never bothered me to see, like, scantily clad, you know, women, or the armor that was just ridiculous, like, you know, boob armor, because, like, you know, honestly, in, like, real life, I dress very, like, I don't know, kind of like prudish, you know, I'm like t-shirt and jeans. So like, if I'm gonna play a game, I want to be a sexy lady, you know, like I want to.
That's fine. Like, my point into the point that well, people like me, I think, try to make isn't so much that it's wrong for people to enjoy that. It's just it's kind of like any piece dealing with propaganda or, you know, subtle pieces of imagery. Is that the more that you think that you can't be affected by it, the more likely you are to actually be affected by it. So it's just sort of a keep this in mind, and if you still wish to enjoy it, go ahead, jump full into it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with enjoying problematic things. Just don't. But simultaneously, it's not a problem to acknowledge when a problem exists. That's fine. That's all it is.
To be really, really honest, that actually bothers me more than the games. Is the way you just lectured us and what we can and can't. And I don't mean that in an aggressive way, because I don't think you meant anything bad about it. But it's really up to us whether, you know.
I would rather live in a world where we could play all the ridiculous comedic, you know, comic book style games we want, and women get paid the same wage. How about that?
That's
fair enough. Worry about what's really important. That's
so,
like, you know what? The games are not the problem. It's the fact that women are still not paid the same for the same as what a man's doing.
Stork, and then I wanted to say something.
Okay.
About 10 years ago, I did a dual facility for a major game company. And the video game
or market might have shifted a lot since then. I'm not sure what the demographic. The last thing I did with them was in 1996. But back then, our biggest payoff market was gay bars. That actually were back then a very good market for games. We tended to have women programmers for that. I'm trying to think of, I can't think of any names of the games that came out, but those games were huge payers. Then we had the other shooting games and things like that. And the demographics for the women did not even get, I'd say, 10% of what the guys got that were programmers on the other side.
Yeah. For me, it's like, what does Anita Sarkeesian or people who are against this in the gamer world about those conventions where you dress up in anime costumes?
Oh, the cosplay.
Cosplay, and especially a lot of them that are women, or just say it wasn't even cosplay where women dressed up as these characters, but just a woman in general wearing scantily clad clothes in public. Do they go and say, "Hey, why are you being anti-feminist"?
No.
I mean,
no.
And then another point is if they're dressed very formally, like in a long dress, and like, are they gonna go and say, "Hey, why are you dressed like that? Don't you know that that's, you know, so 19th century?" Like, what are you supposed to wear? It's like, what's the argument? Anyways, Ariel and then Broken Carpenter.
Oh, Erik had his hand up first.
Okay, Erik and then Ariel and then Broken Carpenter. I guess that was it for Erik. All right, Ariel, you want to say something quick?
Oh, I was just gonna say I've done those things.
Oh, I was actually gonna say something, but like, okay, like with like cosplay, I'm all for creativity, and plus I'm all for people wearing whatever they want, you know, however they want. I don't judge, because honestly, why should anyone judge by costumes or way things look? I mean, I know everyone has a different observation. I mean, honestly, what's the point of being so nitpicky about, oh, there's too much revealing skin. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm going to censor that. That's honestly how I feel.
All right.
I mean, this is America. And plus, you know, women were fighting for rights, you know, to look however they want. And plus, I support that.
Yeah.
I mean...
All right. So we got a new guy, Alexander. How's it going?
Hello there.
Nitpicky about, oh, there's too...
So do you want to do a mic test, Alexander, and introduce yourself if you want? Hello, Alexander.
Alex. Hello.
You may be listening on YouTube.
Okay.
Mike is muted.
If you're listening on YouTube, Alexander, you can talk with us on the Ring Central. Maybe he's just listening in. All right, feel free to speak up whenever you want. All right, go ahead, Erik, if you want to finish, and then Broken Carpenter.
Yeah, Erik, are you still on?
Oh, like I said, like I'm all for, you know, people can show however they want. It's a right. I mean, that's honestly how I truly feel about it. Mm-hmm. It's like women were fighting for these rights for a long time to actually, you know, to fight for them to, you know, reveal more if they want to. I mean, that's just up to them.
Well, my love of dressing up in costumes goes way back, because my mom was crazy about that too, and we would always have a great Halloween, and she is an amazing seamstress. She can pretty much make anything in the world, and so we would always have these amazing costumes which would get a lot of attention. And so when the Lord of the Rings films came out, there were tons of people making costumes, and I got really into costuming. I've got some pictures of some of the costumes I made, and they're like, wow. I mean, they look like they came right out of the movie, because I did so much research and they took time. So I think for a lot of like professional cosplayers or costumers, it's like a thing. It's like a like an art, you know, it's a skill of figuring out how to make these things and then wear them, and it's exciting to go to an event or a convention and put it on. And it is, I mean, it's a blast. I mean, I dressed up as Arwen, you know, and I had the whole thing, the beaded gowns and the whole shebang. And I mean, people would come up to you, want pictures with you, and it was fun. And so, you know, I see a lot of that because, you know, I play Hearthstone, I play different games, and, you know, I see like the pictures from events, and it's cool. I mean, it's like people put a lot of work into this stuff. And at these kind of conventions and events, there's very strict rules in place about you don't harass people if they're dressed kind of skimpy, and you don't touch people inappropriately. It's, you know, it's like you have to be polite and respect people. But I think that that's kind of not just a men and women thing, but I think people that like to do that kind of stuff have always kind of had a sort of prejudice, or, you know, people looking down on them in society going, those people are weirdos, they're Trekkies, they're nuts, you know, like they're crazy people that want to go do that. So I think that's kind of a thing that's become less of a problem. You know, I think it's becoming a little bit more accepted, the sort of like gamer geek culture, you know, where it's like it's more cool now than it used to be. But there still is a little of that thing in general, just for all.
The tension that's going
on.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's a way to blow off steam. It's a way to be creative and just have a good time.
Yeah. Like, I kind of have a problem with how cool it's become. Okay, like when I was in high school and I played D&D, I got tortured for that shit. Yeah. Everybody should be able to pay that toll before they go in there. You know what I mean? Like, now it's so cool. I'm like, why wasn't it cool back in the day?
We suffered for our geekiness.
Yes. Well, the last thing I dressed up as is Dobby the house elf.
Oh, that's awesome.
I took a sheet, made it like a big bed case, and I rubbed it on the inside of the grill so I'd have black all over it, and tied it up with a rope.
Yeah.
I don't know. The kids always went as something else. It was for the first night of one of the books. I can't remember, but
oh yeah,
either that one or Luna Lovegood's dad. I did that one year. And my wife was what's her name? The woman that's the gossip writer in Harry Potter.
I actually made Harry Potter costumes for people. Like, I never did them myself or wore them myself, but I actually made some really nice ones for people, and actually it was out of state, and I mailed them out. It was pretty cool. It was fun.
We had to be there for the first night of every book. You know, after the first one, every book we were at the Barnes and Noble waiting in line with our little ticket to pick it up, and then we'd all race home, and we'd fold out the big fold-out bed on the couch, and everybody would lie on it and take turns reading until somebody fell asleep, you know, and then we'd stop reading. So
yeah. No, costuming is really fun, and not everybody's into it, but for the people that like it and really enjoy it, oh, it's a blast. It's
the kids dug the hell out of it. It was fun. It was, you know, but so I don't get anything. You get that having some fantasy in your life's a good thing, you know. And I play the only game that isn't like a shooting game that I can think of is Final Fantasy, I guess. Some kind of fighting game.
Dissidia?
It's I don't know. It was pretty cool, but
It's violence.
Yeah, it's all fighting, but you could be like, you know, like the Sailor Moon looking girl.
He knows who Sailor Moon is.
This skinny, like spinny looking thingamabobs that you can cut people up. And there's this one character that's sort of like he looks like the Gimp from that movie, from that Tarantino movie.
Oh no!
Yeah, you're right.
And I always like painting because he just wasn't that scary looking. So I always made him like, you know, bright pink and stuff, so that he was as unbadass looking. And when he's like standing there waving us all these, anyhow, that's always, we just took turns. Like when the kids had friends over, we'd pass the controls around, and whoever was champion got to keep playing. You know. Anyhow.
That's good.
Okay, so who's? I'm gonna go last, but Ariel's talking about costumes, and we went from feminism to costumes, which is fine. That's par for the course. So Eben, do you have, or Eric, do you guys have any costumes that you felt that you just nailed? Like at Halloween, or
I was Kim Jong Il once.
Oh my gosh.
Pixar didn't happen.
I feel like the striped jacket, you know, and did the hair.
Okay, you want to see a costume? Hold on a second. I've got one.
I'll see if I can find a photo.
I dressed up as Big Bird for 1 year.
Wow.
My mom has pictures of it.
Oh, I love Big Bird.
But I also dressed up as Mario 1 year. I dressed up as Link. Well, like a amateur Link. With not like, the real Master Sword and the real shield. It was like, one of those cheap ones. And I dressed up like in green, so.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of funny though, because, it was hard to find shit like that. And plus, nowadays, now they make everything so easy to get, and anyone can make anything, so you can dress up any way that you can and want.
It depends on how serious you want to get with it. I mean, that's really it. I mean, the gowns and the costumes that I made a ring wraith costume for a guy that, I weathered it. I ran like the edges of it in the dirt and over cement, so it looked really torn up and worn, just like in the film. I mean, oh my God, he got a metalsmith to make like the gauntlets and stuff. And when he would come out wearing that damn thing, people were just like, oh my God, it was creepy looking. Big old black hood, made like a false, front, so there was no face. It was, yeah.
All right, who else? Joanne, did you ever have a costume that you liked?
There's a story behind this.
Oh my God.
I can imagine.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a great jacket. That's a great jacket. I like that.
That was a cool
Thank
jacket.
you. So when I was in high school, and a couple of you might have already discovered my YouTube page, I used to do Michael Jackson impersonations for my school's talent show. This costume is from my senior year performance. And so I saved up all the money I could from birthday allowance and holiday money to purchase the full costume set. So it's a full sequin jacket, pants, sequin socks, and of course the glove.
Wow.
That's it. Can you do the dance?
I
can. You do the moonwalk?
I still can, although I had to lay off of it for a while after I injured my ankle a couple months ago. Yeah, I had it turns out between bike versus curb, the curb wins every time.
Oh yeah, I felt curb before. It sucks. Go ahead, John. So who Joanne was going to say?
Well, I guess the one I liked the best was, remember that Saturday Night Live skit where somebody knocks on the door, it's like, who's there? And he goes, Candyman. And it was really Land Shark. Remember Land Shark?
Yeah, that was awesome.
So I made a Land Shark costume one time.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, so that was pretty funny. Another time, during the punk rock days, I did this like punk rock costume, which really shocked all my friends because I was kind of not conservative, but yeah, I wasn't a punk rocker, so that was pretty funny. But my kids were into costumes a lot more. Like my son wore his Batman costume when he was like 4 years old for like every day for 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And anyway.
So do we want to move on to Anything Goes, or do we want to...
Oh, we're on After Hours?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were on Anything Goes.
That's right. We kind of segued from the Anita Sarkeesian issue.
Christian, did you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't dressed up for Halloween for a few years now, but I remember fondly, I think it was one of my first Halloween costumes. I had asked my grandmother from my father's side to make me this costume that I really wanted to wear. And when I wore it, man, oh my God, I was so... I feel like I was in character. She had made me, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game, but Mortal Kombat. She had made me a custom reptile, just a very basic, just green mask, green felt mask, green gauntlets, green leg gauntlets, green vest, and then with a black, undershirt and pants. And I was so proud of it, man. I think I was 5 or 6 years old, maybe even 4. And I would run around and just do like crying, like, I was a little kid, man. And then that was Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, Red, Stevie.
Probably the best one that I pulled off was Magenta from Rocky Horror. The only thing I had to get was the wig.
I used to dress up as her. I was in that show for a while doing like...
Oh, I love that. When I was at school at WVU. Yeah, I saw it and they did the live audience participation. It was a blast. But like the most work I ever put into one was my Princess Leia costume. And I spent like 2 days straight, like just sewing it by hand. And of course, I don't know how to sew. Huh?
Which version of Leia? There's like
the white dress with the buns. Yeah, because like my hair was so long, I could like do the actual buns and like it looked really good. But I'm a terrible, terrible seamstress, and it fell apart within like a day. So yeah.
All right, Snork. I want to hear this one.
I went to an anime convention with my children.
Ooh.
About maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and I wasn't dressed up. After a while, I got kind of tired of standing up, and there was this table that was unused. So I borrowed the chair and just sat at the table. Really, just a few seconds later, a line of people formed up, and they're asking who I was there as.
Oh no!
You were like, they thought you were a character, some character.
Yeah, and as soon as one person lined up, everybody else lined up to say, "Oh, we gotta go see him."
That's funny.
This must be somebody very important.
All right, so
we're shaking on, but go ahead.
So the Fly, were you dressed as the Fly?
I actually make a pretty good looking Brandon Lee for the Crow.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
What are your thoughts about the remake?
I haven't seen the remake yet.
Okay. Well, no, they're planning to make it. Last I heard,
yeah.
They're gonna use.
It's been development hell for years. They've been planning on doing this for.
Hard to beat Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Aquaman guy, Jason Momoa or something. Was the one that was planned to play the part.
Jason Momoa is hot. Hot.
But he's too big. He's a big Sully.
Yeah. Anyways, anything goes? Do we want to go there so we can talk about
anything goes?
That way we can talk about current events. Right, so everyone stay tuned. We'll
current events and anything.